All right, guys. Good morning. Good afternoon. How is everybody? Can you all hear me just fine and see my screen okay? Okay. And if there's any issues with the audio or anything, let me know if it's lagging or anything like that. So how many of you guys are new here, first time for my webinars? Actually, maybe let me ask the other way around. How many of you guys have actually been to my previous webinars before here on FXStreet? Okay, we got a few new people. Okay, great. So my name is Navin Prithyani, and I'm the analyst for ForexWatchers.com, UrbanForex.com, and the CEO for Blackheart Investments in Hong Kong. And today, the topic of the webinar today is identifying market directions. Okay. Now, there is this division, though, the way people look at markets in terms of the flow. Where is the market headed? Okay. So we're going to discuss what tips and tricks we can use to help the eye visualize where we're headed and what we need to do. And then we're going to throw in some trend lines in there just to show you how I use the trend lines to engage the flow. Okay? All right, let's get started here. Okay. Now, first things first. You guys need to get a grip of an understanding of where the markets are shooting off from. Okay. If you guys haven't seen the support and resistance webinar at FXStreet, you guys can watch that after this webinar just to get a heads up. But whenever you have an area where you can see the buyers are sitting because it shoots the market out of it. Okay. That's one thing. It shoots the market out of it. And what do you see? The markets are headed long, right? It goes nicely long and then it starts to turn. Okay. As it's turning around, up until this point, you have no clue which direction is the market. For all you care, you're looking at this as like, oh, we're in this massive range. We have no idea where we're headed. Okay. So what do you want to do with this information? Okay. So we have strong buyers here just pushing the market. We have strong sellers here knocking it down. Okay. And then the market starts to go beyond this area. Okay, once it goes beyond this area, you clearly see which is the direction of the market. Okay, in terms of support and resistance, it's basically saying if support breaks, then it becomes resistance, etc., etc. Okay, we've all heard of that. Okay, you can use any time frame. It doesn't matter. I'm just showing you guys this 4 hour. Okay, any time frame is okay. So once this happens, you start to see that, all right, seems to me that the sellers are now in control. Okay, the buyers that were in control are now overpowered by the sellers. Okay, telling you that this move up is now taken by this move down. Okay, once you see that, you start to get an overall understanding. In this image, when I say in this overall understanding, I mean from this line here all the way to this line here. The problem is when people trade in these markets today, the focus goes right here, as close to the price as possible, and they forget about all of this stuff. Okay, so when you look at this overall picture, you get an idea of like, okay, if the sellers are in control, what happens next? If the image starts lagging, I'm gonna draw and speak slower, and I'll let you guys know what I'm doing so you guys can let me know if it's lagging a lot or not. Okay, so now that we see that the sellers come into control, we're gonna see the market start to retrace. Okay. Now, how many guys are very, very familiar with higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, and all of that stuff? Okay, you guys are well familiar with it? Okay. So this low gets broken to this low. I just drew a circle all the way to the bottom. And then the market starts to retrace. As it retraces, in our mind, all we know is that we just need another circle, okay, our lower high to start to form to give us a confirmation that the markets are going to go in a downtrend. Right? Does everyone until this point understand what I'm trying to say? We just need, once the market goes away from here, we need a lower high to confirm that we are now officially in a downtrend. Okay? Once we get to that scenario where we're expecting it to go into a downtrend, what happens here? You draw, most people what they do is they draw, their Fibonacci's, and they're like, okay, 38% sell, 50% sell, 60% sell. It's just location. They're all location-based trading. Okay? Now, the way I introduce trend lines into our conference rooms and our members, it's simply in a way like this. Once you identify the objective of who is in control, you then want to follow the immediate move afterwards with a trend line. Take your trend line and start to stalk it. Okay? Doesn't need to be the clearest trend line or the properly drawn trend line. Just identify the movement. Okay? As the move starts going up, whether you're a support and resistance trader or a supply and demand trader, you want to look for that information. Once the leg starts to break, that's when you can start imagining, am I going to get my next circle? Because your circle can end up here. Am I right? It can end up here, and you can still consider it a downtrend, but how do you know it's going to continue down? What if you end up selling here, assuming it's going down? Okay, so what do you need to confirm? Okay, can anyone take a guess at this moment? What do you actually need to get? What do you need? Okay, trend line breaks. Okay, let's see all your answers here. Okay, Shaukat Ahmed, how to find main trend so that I can take short time trade. Okay, we're discussing that right now. Okay, break and retest, Jody. Okay, a lower low. Okay, here. Let me show you this information again. Okay, once we reached all the way up to this area, take a look here. Okay, lower high, yes, that's correct. We made a lower high here, but how do we know when the lower high occurs? Now take a look at this. Everything we did here, it's being mimicked on a smaller scale. Okay, I'm going to remove this circle so you guys can see properly. I'm going to remove this one as well. So I'm not. Okay, all the circles are gone. My screen is blank. Now I'm drawing these circles now. The market shoots up from here. Okay. And we're looking for this area to be messed with. Okay, once we overtake this area, that's when you start to have a information that your trend line has officially broken. Because otherwise, if the market just goes down to this zone here and bounces back up, what happens to your trend line? It simply adjusts, and it becomes like that. So is it really a trend line break that can help you in a scenario like this? No. It becomes very difficult to start understanding a trend line break. Because a trend line break can mean, oh, so this is the trend. Oh, so this is the trend. You're going to keep drawing your trend line again and again and losing trades again and again. But it's the same scenario of seeing where my buyers were sitting, and it shot north, and my buyers are still sitting there. They're not letting the sellers through. Once we see the sellers go through, that's when we see, okay, this whole area can now officially get a circle, giving you a indication the direction of the flow of the market. Yeah? Everyone with me so far? Okay. Okay. So it's identifying your screen from the left corner to the right corner. And once you figure that information out, you do it on a miniature scale. Okay? Why not at the early retrace from the break up of the trendline area 152? Right here, 152? Are you talking about this place? Okay. So, first of all, who's in control? Okay. If this is the area you're looking for a break and saying that, okay, there's a trend line break here. Let's make it sharper. The traditional way. Let's make it sharper. But who's in control? If this is a circle here where all the sellers are sitting and they've just been taken out by buyers, well, according to what I see, all this means is we're still in an uptrend. What if this area does not break and it becomes a circle? All you have is a resumption of the trend. If it goes lower, even if it ends up lower, it can still become a resume of a trend. Okay? We're not going at the 152 area. I'm going down to 150, 150 now. And it can still indicate that the buyers are still in control because this is the bigger picture from the left to right. The 152 area around 25th of July. Yeah. What I'm trying to say, do you understand what I'm trying to say? When you look at the big picture, what is the big picture? Who's in control? Draw your extreme circles. Okay, this is the highest circle you can possibly draw at this moment. And when you reach here, this is the highest circle you can possibly draw at that moment. Okay, indicating the buyers are in control. They have power. They have money. Okay? All right, so can also draw a horizontal line support. Yes, you can. The way I teach support and resistance is a little bit different. And like I said, if you guys want to watch it, it's all. Search my name on FXStreet or Google, and you'll find it. It's a video called Support and Resistance Reinvented. But when the areas I look for is areas of support and resistance, but also an area that has been cut through with a large candle. These areas are of interest to me. We need large candle breaks of support and resistance areas that become of interest to my taste. Okay, so it's this flow of the market, understanding your screen, your entire screen, and not just simply looking at looking at this area here. If you're just focused on this area and you think, I'm in an uptrend, I must buy. Well, you could be in for a surprise if the buy ends very, very shortly right here, and then you have a trend continuation or a sell. The trend line, which used to be here, now just gets adjusted to here. Is everyone following what I'm saying? Okay, so it's a very, very, very strong understanding of who gets in control. Now, for this market to reverse and to go long, a couple of things is necessary. First things first, we see this area, sellers were sitting here. Why? Because it shoots away from this area strongly. That's one thing. Okay, once this area gets taken out, it goes north. Now, you're interested. You're like, okay, I had buyers sitting here, and then suddenly my lows that were going lower has changed direction. I got a higher low. Okay, this is something that a very good friend of mine taught me. He said it's called a back door. This is your first indication that, wait a minute, there is going to be a change in direction, or a possibility, a change in direction, not necessarily a possibility. So what's next? After you see this, you start to see that your high is also gone higher? Where's the first area it goes above? Here. Okay? You start to see this and you're like, okay, looks like we're slowly starting to move in an upward motion. Okay? Market comes back down slightly and it resumes north. Okay? Now this thing can keep going north until this big picture area gets challenged. Are we going to go above this area or will we fall short of it, giving you the overall picture of the market? This is a miniature move inside this big move that's happening right now from this area to this area. Okay, everyone with me so far? Anyone confused here? Hi, Mark. How are you? Okay, how do you account for the momentum generated by the institutional money coming into the market? How does that affect market direction, or does it? It always does. Institutional money is the money that actually flows the market. Everybody else is not doesn't have the capital to actually move the market. Okay, I sound like Stephen Hawking. Is the sound pretty bad? I can turn it off and on, maybe see if that makes a difference. 1 second. How about now? Is that any better? Okay. All right. So let's resume here. Okay. So you start to see this overall market. Now let's pick a different market to understand. So right now we're seeing pound yen on the 4 hours approaching north on this miniature move to challenge its recent highs. Yeah, it could be my connection. I'm out in China, so they do block a lot of connections going out. What time frame do I use? I use all time frames, but preferably 1 hour and above. My favorite one is 1 hour, but 4 hours is great. Daily is great. But when you look at this move, this big ones that I've drawn, if you check it out on the daily, it's the same thing. It's just that we've looked at it in the big picture. Okay, we just looked at this in a bigger scale on the 4 hours, but on the daily chart, it's one swing. Okay, so higher trends on trends is confirmation then. Yeah, basically. Okay, now let's take a look at a different pair, and we can work with it on multiple time frames, so you guys can take a look at how it's messed with each other. You know how the puzzle pieces. Aussie dollar. Let's take a look at Aussie dollar, and we'll get an idea. Okay, Aussie dollar. We'll start with daily. Okay, who's in control? Okay, the sellers are there. The sellers are here. Okay, they're moving the markets down. They're shooting it away, all these areas. The sellers are here. They're just massively dropping this thing again and again and again. Okay, the sellers are here. Take a look at this. When it went up, did it break this area? No. Okay, on this blue zone. It didn't break that area. It challenged it. It didn't break it. What happened after that? The low went lower. This low area here where the buyers were sitting, it went lower, telling you that these buyers that were sitting down here just got overruled by these sellers. Okay, the buyers came in saying, hey, I have $10 million, and the seller's like, well, we got 100 million. Get out of the way. Okay, so they moved the market a little bit north. They took the money and they slammed it again. Okay, now it's going back up to test the area yet once again. So let's take a look at this on the 4 hours. Okay, let's remove all these circles. Let's take a look at this on the 4 hour. Now we get to see this huge flow, and nice and smooth. Okay, sellers sitting up here. Sitting over here, slamming it down. Buyers here. Buyers They haven't risen it. They've risen it here a little bit. So what does this tell you? Which direction is the market? Down. Right? They have lower lows and lower highs. The markets are strictly down. Now we're going up. Your buyers are starting to come into some strong action here. Okay? Now we're looking at the miniature scale, the scale of the 4-hour movement. Why do we know that the buyers are getting in control? Because we had sellers sitting right here, and the buyers just overruled them. Okay? We had sellers sitting right here, the buyers overruled them. Okay, so you start to see this upward motion coming into play. As you see this upward motion coming into play, I'm going to ask you just one simple question. As we're going into this upward motion, where is the big dog sitting? Okay, where is the big dog sitting? These sellers here, yeah, right at top, right? These sellers here, they move the market down till here. These sellers here, they move the market down all the way to here. It's like, it's like there's no buyers. Buyers ran away when they looked at these guys. I'm putting this in a comical sense so you guys can understand. It's almost like the buyers got scared and they ran away. So the challenge is all the way up here. Now, up until that point, we see a couple of things. Now that the markets are going long, okay, how do we know it's going long? Because now we're seeing the buyers start to challenge the sellers and saying, hey, you know what? We have some money too. They're starting to challenge the areas. All the seller areas start to get taken out. In moments like this, okay, if you're a support and resistance trader, great. If you're a supply and demand trader, great. You can find opportunities also. But you only want to look for buy areas. Okay, you only want to look for buy areas in this movement north. Now, in this movement north, don't get me wrong, there is a possibility where these sellers can get back into play and say, I want to sell again. I want to sell again means I want to take this down. It can be from here. It can be like that. It can be sharper. Or it can be like this. A trend is a trend. If it's a downtrend, this is a downtrend, this is a downtrend, this is a downtrend. It doesn't mean that a certain angle is a downtrend. There is no definition of a downtrend as long as the line points down. Okay? So, how do we know this downtrend is going to resume? Well, every time the buyers keep pushing it up, we don't see the sellers take over the buyers until recently. You see this area here where the buyers were sitting? Now the sellers overtook them. Okay, so now you can assume that, is this my big circle here confirming my downtrend? If that's the case, those of you who love trend line breaks, now you can draw your trend line break. And if you like to take trades like that, here we go. Here's your trend line going north. Okay? However you want to draw it. Just to get you the idea that the market has broken that momentum. It's broken down and it's going up to the upper side to test. What is it going to test? It's testing this miniature area here, like where the sellers are sitting. It's going to challenge that area, say, can I overrule you, or will you slam me back down? Okay, so this becomes an optimal area to sell, because not only are you selling close to the higher time frame downtrend, but you're also very, very close to a downtrend on a smaller scale also. Does that make sense? You don't want to sell somewhere over here. You want to sell as close to this area as possible. That increases your risk to reward massively. Everyone with me so far? Sorry, I have a habit of asking that question so no one gets left behind. Okay. Okay, so whoever asked me for Aussie dollar, US dollar, This is the analysis that I'm giving you for Aussie dollar, US dollar. Okay. And I'm doing all this just by looking at trends, just by looking at the flow of the market. How am I looking at the flow of the market? From the left side of my screen to the right side. I'm not focusing on current market. Current market by itself is naked. Okay. Okay. Buyers could sit around 8919 area. Okay. 8919 area. 8919 is all the way down here, I'm saying? Yeah. Well, they didn't move it north here, right? See, for me, it's important that, in my personal opinion, it's important that the buyers have some strength when they take over the sellers. Okay? These sellers had strength because they took over the buyers. Now, if they couldn't take it over and they go just the same amount, it's like saying a man with $100 is challenged with another man with $100. You're not going to get anywhere. But a man with $100 challenged by a person with $1,000 coming against him, he will be crushed. And you can easily see where the power lies. So it's just this little extra step, one additional extra step of analyzing. You do this 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, then it's going to become, what's the right word? Instincts. It's like driving. Okay? In the beginning, you monitor every little thing, and then after a while, you're driving with reading a newspaper and texting your friends and tying your shoelaces. Okay? Is there any significance to there being 3 bullish up moves that or more or less equal to in range, or is that an illusion in my glasses? Well, it's like this. When the markets came up here, they didn't do a complete reversal. It's almost like a complete reversal, right? Okay? A V formation. Again, this is something taught to me. The V formation is taught to a good friend of mine. Okay? Same thing that's happening right now, right? We're having a formation here, and then strictly markets are moving north. It's almost like whatever these guys did, they're giving it all back. Okay? So it keeps getting challenged again and again, and that's when you start to see, okay, where does my backdoor appear? So if I were to draw my circles, my circle being here, where it's shooting north, let's delete all these circles here. Let's get rid of all this, okay? So you guys can see it clearly. Okay. So if I draw my circle here, being that, okay, this is where the buyers were sitting. It went north, and then it slammed down till here where it was equal, went north, and came down again. So it now surpassed it. Okay, so that's my first information of lower low. Now the next one I'm just waiting for is the same thing. I have my circle up here. My next circle will come upon the death of this upward movement. Wherever it fails, it tells me that if I'm closer to this one, the better. Okay, right now it's what, 50% retracement? The closer I am to this upper move, the more strength I have to go all the way down. Because what happens is, if I'm closer to here, I can place my stops just above here. And what happens when your take profit is all the way down here? There is a possibility where the markets will go only halfway and it can turn around. But if you're close to here, this gives you enough time to scratch your trade. So you don't have to ever live with losses. You can scratch your trade, take a very small hit of a loss as an option, or simply close at a small profit. Okay? I'm sorry, I saw a question. Let me just look at that real quick. Do you enter on a lower time frame, long wait on 4 hours? Well, I try to mix and match them, right? I try to mix and match them from a higher time frame to a lower time frame. So this move that I see, from the left, it's a daily time frame movement. This move that I see right here on the 4 hours, the immediate move, this is the 4 hours. So I'm mix and matching. Why is this area of interest to me? Because it's coming along with this big scale monster. So it looks very interesting to me. It's like, whoa, double support, a confluence or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so it's just a matter of measuring who's who. Okay, when you do it this way, what happens? Okay, the markets are moving down. You take all these sell, 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 sell. Out of all these sells, one of them is going to flip. One of them is going to flip. It's no longer going to be a sell. But if you're selling at these optimal areas every time, okay, every time you sell at these optimal areas, let's say you sold here also, and same area, optimal area, as it was coming down, you did not see it stop right here, and it starts to go up. Isn't this enough time? This is 4-hour candles. That's a total of 16 hours. Isn't that enough time for you to move your stock to break even? Okay? Your target is obviously always going to be the recent low. But this gives you enough time. That's an 81 pip movement right there. Okay, do you always start daily? I'm sorry, Boyki. Not necessarily always daily, but for higher time frames mixed with lower time frames. Amir Ali, please repeat the concept one more time. Okay, shall we do a whole different scenario, one whole time again? Okay, that's okay. That's okay. I'm sure it's recorded as well. You guys can probably watch it again later. But please mix this with a technique you use, whether you use supply and demand or use support and resistance. If you use conventional support and resistance, guys, my personal opinion is it does not work. Okay, if you want to, if you have a habit of using support and resistance, watch the webinar that I've given on FXStreet about support and resistance re-engineered. Okay. Okay. Let's see now. Okay. So it's very theory based right now. I'm not telling you this is exactly where you want to enter, but I'm giving a very theory based so you guys understand the flow of the market, because that's the topic of the session, right? All right. Let's take. Sorry, can you guys give me a pair that you guys want, and we can take a look at that. FX Boyki, which time frame you enter? Well, in this particular 4-hour time frame, it's getting close to the daily one, so that would be a good entry. Whenever your upper time frame and the lower time frames come close to each other is the ideal spot. Okay. Okay. Looks like there's a lot of. Okay, we'll do this. We'll look at both Euro USD and Euro Yen. There's 2 euros. So, all right. So let's take a look at Euro USD. That's the first one here. Okay. Shall we start with the daily? Oh yeah, there you go. Thank you, FXStreet. Okay, so I'm looking at the daily charts because if I go to the weekly, it becomes too large of a time frame and it becomes a lot of waiting. Okay, so I'm looking at the daily. What do I see? Big picture, just big picture. What do I see? Buyers are here. Sellers are here. I'm only taking the absolute extremes. Okay. Did the sellers take over? Yeah. Okay. Now, just think to yourself, by how much did the sellers take over? Did they dominate them? Or did they simply, if these guys had $900, these guys had $1,000? It's almost like that. Okay. So they overruled them by slightly more. It tells you that there is a level of strength there. Markets have gone up right now. If you're a trend line drawer, draw your trend lines. It's going up nonstop. We have no indications of turning around until recently. So let's draw where our buyers are. Okay. Buyers here, pushing the markets north. Buyers here, pushing the market north. Buyers here, pushing the market north. And then also buyers here. Okay, you can see it's always getting gradually higher and higher and higher. But now, no buyers yet, and we've crossed below this area. Remember that V formation I was telling you, Mark Sanders? Look at that. It's like they went long, but it gave it all back. Okay, and it's not dominating, but it went slightly beyond it. Okay, so now that it's done that, we're starting to see, okay, maybe it deserves a big circle up here. All right. Okay. So I have this move from top to top in a downtrend. I have this move down here, from here to here, in a downtrend. Okay? So now, are we close to the upper side or close to the lower side? Where do you think is the best sell opportunity? Down here or up here? Okay, up here, right? Okay. That's the big picture. Now, let's go into the miniature size. Okay, now let's take a look at the miniature size. If we had to deal with this, how would we deal with it that we have a decent amount of accuracy and a small risk? Okay, I'm not saying this trade will always 100% work, but I'm trying to tell you that if it doesn't work, you can scratch, or it should be a very, very small loss where you don't feel it. Okay, hopefully your lot sizes are not over leveraged, but you get what I'm saying. Where were the sellers here when it moved this market down? Where were the sellers? Right there, right? They pushed it down from here. Okay, the bigger sellers are also here, but these sellers, they moved it down only till here. From here, they moved it down all the way to here. Okay, so we have some sellers here. Now what we're going to see is a challenge. It's going to go up to challenge that area. Okay, that's how we see a test. Okay, if we get another circle below it, that confirms your entry for a sell. Does that make sense, guys? Is anyone confused? I guess that's the right word. Okay. And then this gives you a complete movement. It's almost like this big circle was a test. This big circle was a test, and this little circle that's coming up soon is a test of a test. It's like you want absolute confirmation. You don't want to mess with it at all. You want absolute confirmation. So it's a test of a test. Okay? Okay, buy the rips, buy the dips. And it reinforces that one must wait for the setup to come to you. Yes, absolute. That's very, very critical. Just wait for the market to come to you. Don't run after it. Don't run after it. Okay? Because most times what happens is what we call panic trading. This is something we were discussing today in our conference room. What is panic trading? Is when the market moves in a certain way. Okay? This is a market moving. I'm not the best drawer. I'm not Michelangelo, but I'm just trying to draw here. The markets are moving in a certain way. Okay? Okay, so this is the whole zigzag of the market moving. So once the market is moving in an upward motion like this, everybody is buying. Okay, everyone is buying because they can clearly see, oh, it's going up. The trend is your friend and this and that, and everyone just keeps buying and buying and buying and buying. What happens then is something called panic trading when a market suddenly does this. Okay, it doesn't reach the bottom. It doesn't reach the area where it started from, but it comes down sharp like that. What this does is everyone who was originally buying gets either wiped out, and then they say, I'm going to sell. Okay, they switch. into sell mode, and that's when the market starts to resume again. Okay, so this panic trading is what a lot of traders seem to be doing, is whenever they see movements like this where it's all red candles, they'll end up selling. They'll be like, oh, I need to get in on this. Otherwise, no Ferrari. Okay? And they end up getting hurt on their accounts. Okay? So we got a couple minutes left. I just want to ask you guys, any questions? Any questions about this whole concept? Good time here. The sound is very bad. Sorry about the sound, guys. I'm not sure what is the reason. Okay, I'm back. Isn't this mean? Oh, sorry, Sanjay. Isn't this mean that bigger time frame congestion is default entry zone for reversals with high probability? Basically, you want to be as close to possible as a higher time frame, but your smaller time frame must give you a setup also. Okay. The recording would sound fine. I hope so. Can we use the strategy on 1 hour? Absolutely, Manish. Okay, just for one, show the 15-minute setup. Okay, let's see if we can do this really quickly. We got like 2 minutes left. So in this whole scenario, when we go to the 15, we got the big picture understood, right? Okay, we got the big picture in play. We'll go to the 15, and this is what we see. Okay, let's see. Where is the area above? Okay, where is the area above? Where's our lines? Our lines are all the way up here. Okay. Okay. What do we see here going on right now? Circle. 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 Do you guys see what's going on here? Where's the sellers? Sellers. Okay, not really here. Not so strong. Sellers. Sellers, and then some higher sellers over here. Okay, it's doing the same thing. Okay, you might be assuming that we're in this little consolidation now recently, but look at the overall picture. It'll give you a heads up of what's going on. It's reached this area very, very strongly down here, but because it's come down so strong, what's going to happen? Many people are going to assume I need to sell here, but when you sell here, there's larger players getting ready to hit the buy button here. So it's like selling into the face of buyers. Does that make sense, guys? And whoever asked me the 15-minute thing, I hope this makes sense. So where would we enter after drawing the circle? Okay. You're asking me for a proper trading plan, aren't you? Okay. So you draw the circle, right? You want to see. You have to go even lower because I don't see any area that we need to overtake. Let's go down to the 5 minutes to see if there. Oh, where we go? Here we go. Sorry. Okay. Here's a smaller scale. Okay. Where's the seller sitting? Right here. They're pushing it down. Sorry. There we go. They're pushing it down. We want this market to go up and overtake it a little bit. Once it takes it over a little bit, then that's when we have a confirmation that we get a big circle down here. So the markets are in an uptrend again. Then we want a retrace downwards for the test of the test. Okay, so movement down like this, a complete V formation, market giving it all back slightly higher, and then we want the markets to come down to pick you up. Make sense? Okay. All right, guys, just wanted to let you guys know we have a promotion going on at forexwatchers.com. We have like 25% off for the conference rooms, and we are there every single day. So if you guys want any further information, contact us on forexwatchers.com. Thank you all for attending. Thank you very, very much, FXStreet, for having us here. Until next time, I'll see you guys on the next webinar. Take care. Bye now.